best battled it out at the 2008 Best Ranger competition. Welcome to Army Newswatch. I'm Jeannie Ryan.
And I'm Sergeant First Class Pete Mays. Plus training around the tortoise at Fort Irwin, California. But first, here's a look at what's going on around the Army.
Soldiers can look forward to less time away from home. The Army is finalizing plans to return to 12-month tours from the current 15-month deployments starting August 1st. But troops currently deployed and those heading out before August will stick to the 15-month rotations. Army Chief of Staff General George Casey says this is a positive step in the quest to put the Army back in balance.
Coming back to a 12-month tour with the growth that we've also accelerated by 2 years starts to put us in a position where, one, soldiers will deploy only for 12 months, and two, they will spend increasingly more time at home.
A home-based team will become a pair of brothers and 27 other Ranger buddies to capture the 2008 Best Ranger competition. Staff Sergeant Shane Sherry and Michael Broussard returned the title to the 75th Ranger Regiment, which is based at Fort Benning, the host site for the event. Major Gregory Soule and his brother, Captain Jeffrey Soule, finished second, while Sergeant First Class Jeremiah Beck and Sergeant Jeremy Billings placed third.
Everything just sort of clicked for us. I can't tell you why or how.
We'll have more on the Best Ranger competition later on in the show.
Operation Warrior Release promotes peace in Taji. Soldiers with the 25th Infantry Division released detainees as part of the reconciliation efforts in Iraq. 50 former prisoners were handed over to the care of local sheikhs. Once the former detainees pledged to maintain the peace, they received new Qurans and information about job opportunities in their neighborhoods. Soldiers say this is their second chance to make a positive difference in their community.
Kansas and Kentucky signed on the dotted line to become the first members of the Interstate Compact on Military Child Education. The legislation will help ease the transition for about 1.5 million military children as their parents move from assignment to assignment. States that signed the compact agree to create uniform standards, including the transfer of records, course placement, graduation requirements, and testing.
What this does is give equal footing, and it solidifies support for our soldiers and their families. So our children come in and they'll have those opportunities that they deserve, equal to others who don't have that transient lifestyle.
21 other states are considering signing the compact.
Soldiers take another shot at Olympic gold in Beijing, China. Specialists Jeff Holgan and Glenn Eller with the U.S. Army Marksmanship Unit at Fort Benning, Georgia, took the top 2 positions at the Olympic trials and will be competing in the men's double trap. Eller began shooting as a kid and started training for the Olympics back in 1997. This will be his 3rd trip to the Games.
The Army's helped me achieve what I haven't been able to achieve in the past on my own. They've given me a place to shoot with, teammates to train with every day. Couldn't ask for anything more than to be in the marksmanship unit.
AMU shooters have won 21 Olympic medals since the unit was established in 1956.
Well, it's time to give a big Army hooah to the stations that bring Army Newswatch into your home, and especially to KC On Demand Local 113 in the Kansas City area.
And ACTV 20 in Atkinson, New Hampshire. Thanks for watching.
Don't go away. We'll take you to Fort Benning, Georgia for highlights from the Best Ranger competition.
And the Army's hockey team in Europe scores a new coach. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Hello, I'm Sergeant First Class Mushala. Your vote is important because your voice can only be heard if you take action. Let your voice be heard by casting your vote. It makes a difference. Remember, wherever you are, it's not too late to vote. If you have questions, see your voting assistance officer. Be smart. Do your part. Vote.
I'm a lion!
Yes, you are. Come here. Let's see how this looks.
Hey, how's my little horse?
She's a lion.
Yes, she is.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. When you adopt a child from foster care, just being there makes all the difference.
Hey, you want to make a difference and make new friends? Me? Try volunteering.
Are you into it?
Call 4-H or check out our website at areyouintoit.com.
Recycling a glass bottle saves enough energy to run the TV you're watching for 1 full hour. Recycle. It's the everyday way to save the world.
There's something you should know about me. I'm cold. I'm calculating. I get what I want. If you get in my way, I'll wreak havoc upon you. I can leave you weak, limp, twisted, confused. If you want to live to see tomorrow, you answer to me, and you answer quickly. I am a stroke.
Learn to recognize a stroke and act quickly. Time lost is brain lost.
Welcome back. Soldiers and Iraqi police continue to see success in joint operations. On a recent mission in the western desert of the Salah ad-Din province, they took to the air in an assault mission against al-Qaeda in Iraq. Air Force Sergeant Lee Bellinger reports.
All the planning and pre-combat checks done, soldiers and police now lounge around or take a smoke break as they await the start of a joint air assault mission targeting a terrorist camp.
I know my guys are up to the challenge. They've been working their butts off and getting ready for the last week, practicing, doing their PCCs, PCIs, and doing everything they can to make sure Murphy doesn't bite us in the butt.
With that, the troops load up for the short flight into the western desert. Final destination, an al-Qaeda in Iraq camp. Al-Mushra village is a small yet sprawling and abandoned village that's being used as a safe haven by AQI. But that status is about to change to unsafe. The first group in sets up a blocking position on one end of the village. The main group goes to the other end and starts the push, clearing the abandoned homes one by one.
They squirted out right to our blocking positions. We were able to engage. They had weapons with them.
And they trained those weapons on the helicopters overhead. What ensued was a short engagement that left a handful of dead and wounded AQI members scattered across the battlefield. They left behind an arsenal that included multiple weapons, hand grenades, mortar rounds, and more.
Definitely a successful mission. Looks like potentially 3 to 5 UE killed and a couple of detainees right now.
So the soldiers and police depart like they arrived, leaving behind another village cleared of al-Qaeda in Iraq. Air Force Sergeant Lee Bellinger, Al-Mushra Village, Iraq.
Back on the ground, patrolling the area of concern along the Iran-Iraq border is a top priority. Border transition teams mentor Iraqi security forces to keep enemy fighters from crossing into their country. Petty Officer Frank Andrews tagged along with Bit Team Rambler in Iraq's Wasit province.
They're known as Team Rambler, a border transition team whose mission is to train Iraqi Border Patrol personnel along the Iraq-Iran border.
Once we arrive at Saad Fort, first thing we'll do, of course, is our introductions. Then we'll move on to a mounted and dismounted patrol class. The same principles apply.
Inside Fort Saad, Captain Stephen Dukes, with help from an interpreter, speaks to a group of Iraqis, teaching them vehicle and foot patrol techniques that will help them overcome any threat that will try and cross Iraq's border. Outside, classroom teachings are applied. The Border Patrol perform vehicle dismounts, learning how to best utilize their patrol truck as a shield from gunfire.
Pow! It's simple and easy.
Next, foot patrol movement. An enemy engagement is practiced over and over. After the training, members from Saad Fort and Team Rambler conduct a joint patrol through a valley along Iraq's border. It's here the Border Patrol put to use what they've learned, how to effectively walk a dismounted patrol. Petty Officer Frank Andrews, Wasit Province, Iraq.
From Iraq to back here at home, it was a centennial salute to America's warrior citizens. To mark its 100th birthday, the U.S. Army Reserve re-enlisted 100 soldiers from every state in the nation's capital. For one soldier, it was a homecoming.
Oh my God!
One look at Clifton Magwood and Staff Sergeant Shonda Bass couldn't contain herself. After all, she hasn't seen her recruiter in 15 years.
It's definitely overwhelming. It's definitely makes you stick your chest out a little bit further.
Magwood remembers having to chase her down to get her to sign on the dotted line.
I just presented the opportunities that the Army could help her with those goals. After that, she was still kind of reluctant. It took a lot of chasing, a lot of door knocking, a lot of early mornings or late nights. But finally, she came to realize that this could be a good thing for her.
Now, 15 years later, the D.C. native is one of 100 warrior citizens on the steps of the U.S. Capitol, reaffirming their commitment to serve to mark the centennial of the Army Reserve.
It's all I've done since I graduated from high school, and it's It just feels right. I always tell myself I'll continue to do it as long as it feels right. I've had the opportunity to be on staff at the Olympics in Atlanta. I have served in Japan, climbed Mount Fuji just for PT. People dream of stuff like that.
Bass joined the Army as a laboratory technician. Now she's a registered nurse. Re-enlisting in her hometown has brought her career full circle. Magwood says he never thought she'd stick it out.
It doesn't surprise me at all now because she's gotten used to the Army life. She's seen all the benefits that it can bring to her, and it's made her very successful.
My goal is to be an example of what to do, because I've mastered being an example of what you don't want to do. You know, I got that down pat.
With 15 years under her belt, Bass plans to stay Army since it still feels right, blazing a trail for future warrior citizens. Jeannie Ryan, Washington.
It was a strong vote of support for soldiers and their families. As part of the Army's increasing focus on soldier quality of life initiatives, leadership put their pens to the Army Community Covenant during the inaugural signing at Fort Benning, Georgia. Gail McCabe has the story.
We don't take it for granted. We've got to do more.
The words spoken by the mayor of Columbus, Georgia, became the first of many testimonials of support and commitment to America's Army and its soldiers.
We're here to sign this community covenant.
According to Army Secretary Pete Guerin, the Army Community Covenant gives cities and neighborhoods like those that surround Fort Benning the opportunity to reinforce the strength of their relationship with those who serve.
There's no substitute for neighbors helping neighbors, and that's why we have this community covenant, to thank communities like Columbus and Phoenix City for the wonderful support that they give our families, to affirm what they do, and to build on it.
Is supported by the strength.
As signatures were penned and witnessed, the Army's first community covenant was welcomed into the Army family, especially by 13-year-old Damian Jackson.
In the military, you move around a lot, and I feel that this community has showed more to Fort Benning and the soldiers than any of the communities I've ever been in.
Several years ago, we declared that family members were part of the combat readiness of our soldiers. I think this covenant represents that communities are now also an integral part of the combat readiness of the United States Army.
Today's ceremony is being held as the first of many to come as communities across the nation and around the world step forward and pledge their continued support for soldiers and their families. Gail McCabe, Columbus, Georgia.
Still to come, great young minds solve climate problems.
And training with the tortoise. We'll show you how soldiers stay up to date with their combat skills without endangering the reptiles.
More of the stories that make America's Army are up next.
These things we count on every day started as ideas. Ideas from the minds of African Americans. Support minority education today so we don't miss out on the next big idea tomorrow. The United Negro College Fund. A mind is a terrible thing to waste.
You wouldn't treat a crash test dummy like a child. So why treat a child like a crash test dummy? If they're under 4'9", they need a booster seat. Learn more at boosterseat.gov.
Recent studies show babies who are breastfed are less likely to develop ear infections, respiratory illnesses, and diarrhea. Babies were born to be breastfed.
Welcome back. It's been compared to the Ironman and Eco Challenge. 28 two-man teams were pushed to their limit and beyond as they battled for the title of Best Ranger. Sergeant Mike O'Brien joins us now with highlights from the competition. Mike?
Thanks, Jeannie. From parachuting to weapons firing to land nav, the buddies spent 3 days of almost 60 straight hours trying to prove they're the best of the best, and their families got to tag along for the ride.
Dad, you rule.
1/4 of a century, 25 years we've been doing this. For me, it's a very emotional experience because every time you come down here, it just makes you feel proud to be an American.
They do a lot of obstacle courses. It's really fun to watch because they're doing stuff that you're like, wow, that's really cool. I wish I could do that. And then you think about it, well, maybe that's kind of hard. Maybe I don't want to do that.
Because the real best Rangers are out there on the front line of freedom in Iraq and Afghanistan and taking to the enemy every day. So
they're so focused. I mean, everybody else seems, kind of easygoing.
So I don't know how they do it. I really look at these guys and what they do and what they've done for the country, and I'm in awe of them.
And to all you aspiring Rangers and future leaders, you can do anything you want as long as you set your mind to it.
I'm proud of my husband.
Just basic rangering skills is a lot of what this is, and just fine-tuning it and just making yourself better.
Team 2, Henderson and Scott from 4th RTC. Ladies and gentlemen, our top 3 teams coming in at the finish line. Team number 5 stands for South 25th, Team 3 for 8
28 teams started the competition, but only 16 finished.
Another team that made the goal is the Baden Bruins. Not only did the Army hockey team in Europe get NHL sponsorship, they also scored a new coach. Michelle Michael caught up with them in Germany.
That's it, Chief, that's it.
The ice is home to the men in yellow.
We are the Baden Bruins.
Most of them used to wearing green.
We are the Army's team in Europe.
Ken Robinson started the team.
We had a lot of guys from the Boston area, so we decided to call it the Baden Bruins.
They have a winning record among American and German leagues.
We won the very first year.
But the biggest win yet is word of official NHL sponsorship by the Boston Bruins. And
wait for the whistle and the next 2 players go.
The coach.
Let's go. Everybody here in the middle.
His name is Bob Sullivan.
Keep the puck out in front of you.
His number, 26, is the same one he wore when he played pro hockey for the Hartford Whalers.
I played pro hockey all my life, actually.
At 50 years old, his experience on the ice inspires the team.
I think it's something that says a lot about the team, actually, because of the fact that it's not every day that you actually even run into an NHL player. But here we have one as a coach.
Sullivan is a 1977 NHL draft pick from Canada.
It's a dream for everybody to play a sport, become a professional, and make money out of it.
When he's on the bench, the confidence just goes skyrocket.
Oh, baby, baby!
When the Bruins take the ice, it's business.
You try and practice the way you play.
Ready?
At the end of the day, another day on skates.
I'll always enjoy it.
Is a day closer to this 50-year-old's next goal.
I'm still playing now, and I hope I can play for another 50 more years.
And the team's chance to write a new chapter of the military's history in Europe.
Nice shot.
Michelle Michael, Fahrenheit, Germany.
Stay down at the other corner.
The country's best and brightest young minds hope to score victory by using science to solve tomorrow's energy problems. Mary Cochran reports from the National Sustainable Design Expo in the nation's capital.
The power of wind.
When it does that, it turns this generator, this power generating mechanism down here, and produces power.
Water.
And it hits a turbine, spins it, and generates electricity.
And the sun.
Where we just electrolyze deionized water and make hydrogen gas, which is then used as a combustible fuel.
Used to produce power and empower.
Because the whole idea of our project is to give them the means to help themselves.
It's amazing how well thought out most of these projects are. I mean, they've integrated the social aspects, the engineering aspects into a wonderful blend that will lead to sustainable solutions for our planet worldwide.
Solutions to global challenges.
When we are concerned about global warming,
and other environmental issues.
And they're creating these projects that are just going to make such a difference for our future all around the world.
The Corps of Engineers' worldwide mission involves this type of forward thinking.
We had the opportunity to reach out and touch the people who are creating these exciting projects that are really thinking outside of the box about sustainability and thinking about tomorrow today. But we also had the opportunity to really talk about what we're doing, because we really are committed to the environment and committed to sustainability in everything we do.
This annual event allows the Corps a chance to touch base with some of America's best young minds. Their innovations hold the key for a cleaner, greener future.
You can't help but walk out of this event feeling like there is quite a lot of hope for the future.
Mary Cochran, Washington.
The National Training Center at Fort Irwin, California is one of only a few training areas in the world suited for force-on-force and live-fire training of heavy brigade-sized forces. In order to maintain operational readiness, Army officials say the installation must expand its training areas. As James Williams reports, the expansion impacts more than just soldiers.
Fort Irwin is expanding its training area by more than 100,000 acres. Some of that is desert tortoise habitat.
So the Army is moving about 770 of these endangered reptiles to public plots, overseen by the Bureau of Land Management.
Some of the threatened tortoises experienced speed for the first time as they were airlifted to their new homes. Environmental consultants attached tracking devices to each tortoise they relocated.
This is 4515.
This allows them to study the reptiles and determine how well they adapt to their new surroundings. Dr. Paula Kahn and her colleagues will observe the reptiles for at least 2 years.
What's the weight? 3,700.
Kahn says they're collecting data to determine the tortoise's social structure, like their courting, mating, and eating habits. It's an effort to ensure the tortoises remain healthy. After all, moving the reptiles to this location is costing the government about $10,000 a tortoise.
But when you have archaeologists and engineers and environmental professionals who for years have looked at this and continue to look at this, I'm confident that we continue to produce efforts that will stand the test of time and will stand the scrutiny that we are justifiably required to hold ourselves to.
Drought conditions throughout the Mojave have resulted in a low food supply for coyotes, and that has forced them to turn to any source they can find.
And that includes desert tortoises, including in just the past week, 2 of them which were found with their forelimbs chewed off.
Officials here expect the threatened tortoises to be safe from military training, and they hope the coyotes will find food elsewhere. James Williams, the Mojave Desert, California.
Coming up, thousands pay their final respects to Staff Sergeant Matt Moffett.
We'll be right back.
We were in an emergency situation. We don't have extra. We have a little bit of water and a little bit of food. A meeting place, no.
No. I don't think we have a first aid kit.
We have tuna fish, we have beans, we have canned tomatoes,
True.
you know.
That's true, but that's really not survival food. Tomato paste.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Those locusts?
What?
Those locusts?
Yeah. I'm throwing rocks at some stuff, and next thing I know, locusts.
Sounds like bad karma. You should try volunteering or walking a little old lady across the street or, you know, something good.
Interesting.
Stay on the universe's good side. Volunteer, vote, get involved.
Hear the one about the mom and the mechanic? They made a big splash running a car wash. See, the local PTA, an auto body shop, and their community coalition organized car washes, raising money to expand after-school programs. They knew keeping kids busy keeps them away from drugs. So now the town's got clean cars and clean kids. What can your group do? Contact your community coalition at helpyourcommunity.org, because you get more
when you get together.
Welcome back. Thousands gathered to pay their last respects to a fallen comrade who finally came home. Veterans, young and old, stood side by side at the Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati, Ohio, for the funeral of Staff Sergeant Keith Matt Maupin. Maupin was missing for almost 4 years, longer than any soldier in Iraq, before his body was found last month.
Matt, I am so very proud of you. You have served your country with honor and distinction, sacrificing your hopes, your dreams, to give others a chance to be free, and we will forever be in your debt. Welcome home, Staff Sergeant.
Maupin was buried at a cemetery near his home with full military honors. For the last 4 years, many thought of the words they would say to Maupin if they could meet face to face. Now that Ohio's favorite son is back home, Staff Sergeant Ray Flores found that it was the little voices who spoke the loudest.
In honor of Matt Maupin, we are here to celebrate his death. We are happy that he is up in heaven, and that nothing can change that.
When Matt Maupin was captured, he was only 9 years older than DJ. Thousands came to say goodbye, including the children.
The brave soldier who died and who lived his life for us.
Why keep Matt Maupin? Why keep soldiers at all?
Yeah.
This was a really good way to say goodbye to him.
Yeah.
My name is Matt. Do you remember my face? I'm an American soldier who's willing to serve. I can't help but think this is so undeserved. Please don't leave me behind. It would be a disgrace. My name is Matt Maupin. Matt Maupin, please remember my face.
For DJ, Matt's an American hero.
I was going to give the Maupin family a J.I. Joe doll to remember him, to the Maupin family, but I love God so much. Folks, he brought Matt Maupin home for a reason. He brought Matt Maupin home.
That does it for this edition of Army Newswatch.
Join us again next time for the stories that make America's Army.